All right, all right, all right. We are at the Oxford Sports Pub and Secret Society. This is You Can't Make This Shit Up. I am your host. Joel is your host. Joel Hawksley, David Washington. We are your hosts from Jay and Washington, your political innovators, and you can't make this shit up.
Well, David, it's absolutely a great day to talk about our school system since all our kids are at home and our moms have just celebrated all their victories in our school system. Moms for Liberty. Huh?
Yes, they had a phenomenal convention recently, and let me set the tone here. Moms for Liberty concluded their Joyful Warriors National Summit in Philadelphia recently.
Can you say the first word again?
The first word, moms.
No, joyful. The first.
Oh, Joyful Warriors National Summit. You got to hand it to them for the branding. I like that. And recently on CNN, historian Nicole Hemmer pointed out that Moms for Liberty are a new version of, I quote, a broader and longstanding reactionary movement centered on restoring traditional hierarchies of race, gender, and sexuality. The book bans, the curricula battles, the efforts to fire teachers and disrupt school board meetings, little here is new. Because central democratic values are taught in schools, the far right has focused on attacking schools from kindergartens to universities with the argument that they are places of liberal indoctrination. The Southern Poverty Law Center labeled Moms for Liberty an extremist group that spreads messages of anti-inclusion and hate. 5 Republican presidential candidates attended the Philly gathering, celebrating their support for the group and their ideology. Extremists or not, the GOP and Moms for Liberty are lab partners experimenting on the suburban woman vote. Let's have our study notes. You ready? Let's enter the classroom. Let's jump right into it. Joel, what you got for us?
Listen, I know the women. I know the women in this organization. I can't say anything. I'm locked, David. As far as I agree with certain things that they do, and there's a lot of stuff I don't agree with.
Right.
And it hurts because their heart's in the right place. Look, you can't abandon the school system. You can't let your parents abandon the school system and not think for all those years that these teachers have become babysitters. They were going to not educate them on sex and everything else and life.
Right.
That's why it's in the schools. It's because our failure to be there. We get COVID-19, we get in the classroom, we see what they're teaching, because they have to teach these things so kids can relate, so they don't get bullied. So look, I get it. No matter what we do, David, this is a double-edged sword.
I have to agree with you on several points. The biggest point I have to agree with you is what you just said, is that parents, and I'll kind of put it in my words, parents have abdicated their responsibility to the schools, to teachers, to the government. We've walked away from so you're a parent, I'm a parent. We walked away from our responsibilities as a parent to be involved in every aspect of our children's lives, which includes school and education. I remember growing up, I dreaded teacher parent conferences, even though I didn't do anything. I just dreaded because
as a kid or
as a kid, yes,
I dread them as an adult. Nobody wants to hear about their kid,
and I was just, bewildered about as a parent, because my wife at the time stayed at home, and so she was more involved, and she was really involved in my boy's schooling. And while I was, working outside the home, she was working inside the home, and she was more involved in the teachers, the coaches, and everything. And she was a familiar face. I know not everyone could do that or be there for their kids. However, reaching out to the teacher, being involved in one way or another besides a fundraiser, is really important. And we stepped away from that. And to see Moms for Liberty, and this is why I have to give them their respect and their due, seeing that they are so concerned about what they saw and what they hear that they organize, got together, and this is what the liberals and the Democrats do. If they see an issue, they'll organize, get together, and address an issue, and that's what Moms for Liberty are doing.
And I agree. It's look how early we keep fighting to get it earlier. I don't know who's fighting for it,
Mm-hmm.
but we keep fighting as a nation, a state of Florida especially, we got to 4K. They still want it lower. They want to get rid of their children than 3K.
Right.
They don't want
right.
to. They don't want to have 2-year-olds for it. I don't understand this not having a relationship with your child until they're old enough to go to. I didn't have kindergarten. Kindergarten started when the year after I went to school.
Mm-hmm.
So I end up graduating 17 because the way things
Okay.
worked out. My birthday's late in December. But the point I'm trying to make is kindergarten came along. That's 1970s.
Okay. Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, hey, we now have kindergarten. Yay! Get the kids out a little earlier. Then we started, you know what? We're paying all this money in daycare, all this money in daycare, all this money in daycare, because we're holding on these jobs that don't pay enough to pay for the daycare, or you have a job that pays for daycare but doesn't pay for your home. You can't win. So you get the government to step in at 4K. So now you don't have to pay for daycare at that certain age. David, I'm just going on and on. I just don't get it. Like, why are we scared of our children?
I believe in as much education as possible afforded to our citizens, afforded to our residents. However, I believe in quality education that will allow us to compete at every level, locally and internationally. Now, I believe that early in life, education is based in play, is based in children having relationships with one another, learning how to socialize in play groups and games and things like that. And we should focus on that. As we get older and mature, children or young people should be exposed to diverse ideas, diverse concepts, not grounded in one particular concept or one particular idea. However, have a larger palette of opportunity to learn about our world, and we're just not seeing that. I like to see more home economics, how to budget, how to balance a checkbook or a checking account or savings, how to save, compound interest. I want to see how to make how to critically think.
Oh, well, absolutely. I was just thinking as you're speaking about all that, how different it is. The Moms for Liberty, a lot of these are the same people that didn't want their kids in the school in the first place.
Right, that's true.
They're raising children at home that have no social skills when they get in. Listen, I had an Army recruiter that I was talking to the other day. We were having a great conversation how different it is being a recruiter. Like, no, there are no quotas. There's no this. There's no, like, the pressures all seems to be gone. You still can't get people in. But he says, I'm glad we don't get penalized for them not making it through basic training, because the majority, if you say homeschooled, you might as well just say 9 out of 10 are getting kicked out.
Right.
Because they've never been in a team before. They don't know what's going on. It's overwhelming, and they break. And that's all it is. Basic training is just breaking you. And they don't even break you like they did. They're getting better and better, nicer and nicer.
Yeah.
So
I learned recently, I thought, and my mother clarified this for me, I thought from first grade to third grade, my brother and I attended a public school. She was like, no, you've never attended a public school. So I can't really speak to my personal experience as a student in public schools. We went to a charter school and then a private Catholic school. Now, for my sons, they've always attended a public school. And I believe their success stemmed from the fact that, the genes that they inherited from their parents, of course,
Oh,
but
absolutely,
also
David.
from their mother's involvement in their school. What I'm concerned about is and there's always going to be extremes in different organizations in our thinking. Just the book bans, and
Oh,
we'll
absolutely.
use that loosely. The Governor DeSantis says there's no book bans. However, when you have one person or a group of people saying they don't like this book or that book and that book in their class, in a classroom or in the media center, then they're taking away. I have a problem with that, particularly when you could go on the internet and find this information. You're just tempting kids to say, hey, okay, I can't find it on the media center, shelf. I'll just Google it and boom, the book is right there. There should be age appropriate material
Oh, absolutely.
for to be accessible to young people.
And I'm sorry to say it. If you are talking about relationships in 13 and 12 inside a book, and you want to ban that book because it has a homosexual tendency, yeah, I'm going to tell you right now, that Kiss the Girls song.
Oh, Katy Perry?
Yeah.
Okay,
I
yes.
love that song.
Uh-huh.
You know how soon that song should have been sung right in the 60s, for goodness gracious. It's not everybody as a teen changing has kissed their own gender and tried to do it like romantically.
Mm-hmm.
And it either works, it doesn't work, I just know it for a fact. I've seen it.
When I was in school, there was so much focus by my parents, particularly on my brother and I, on the academics, the history books, the math books, and so forth and so on. And it wasn't until I went to high school that we started reading novels that were assigned, that were part of the curriculum. Truman Capote's In Cold Blood. Wow, I think right now that would be banned because of the violence in the book. And it wasn't until I was in college that I really took a liking to reading and started reading the works of James Baldwin. I don't think any of his books, especially Giovanni's Room, would definitely be banned in Florida. I mean, James Baldwin, being a liberal, being a homosexual who once left America and had a strong feelings about America and being a black man in America. He debated Buckley. Conversations with Malcolm X. Oh boy, he's got the hallmarks of definitely being banned in Florida. But his works broaden my mind and understanding, and I'm afraid that's what our Floridian children and their parents are going to miss.
Absolutely. I mean, arts. Every time you pick up a pencil, which I guarantee most of you don't anymore. Every time you pick up a pencil and draw a line, you're drawing.
Yeah.
Even if you're writing, you're writing. Writing then becomes literature. Then literature becomes, look, your kids are going to write the future. We're watching movies that are rerun.
Mm-hmm.
I can't tell you I have to watch Scooby-Doo again.
Same trope.
And it's like, wait a minute. Okay, you're making fun of it. That was mine. You're making fun of it because it was yours. These are the people at our age making fun of it. Listen, get new ideas. I saw a movie, and the title's going to leave my head, but it's a totally different concept for me.
Okay.
So whoever knows what this is, it's on, it streams on one of the streaming videos, but it's she puts on a one of those virtual.
Okay.
She's actually there. It's kind of like interacting with her, and oh my god, it's
not Ready Player One.
No, I saw that one.
Okay.
But that was different too.
Okay.
I mean, it wasn't. It still has the same flow to it, but this one, man, I wish you. For me not being prepared for that one, because I did not think that this conversation would go there. I am not a big guy like you. You memorize everything. I seen a movie and I go, "What's that actor's name again?"
I just find it I find it a little bit depressing in the continued culture war that we're having, and I know there's reasonable minds out there. Here in Orange County, we have a school board member who's a member of the Moms for Liberty, Alicia Ferrant, and I met her and her family, her husband. Hello, great people. They are genuinely really good people, and we share similar values. Me on the liberal side, them on the conservative side. However, getting to know her and her husband, I understand where they're coming from. So I'm not going to go after Moms for Liberty. I'm going to shake my hand and shake my finger at some of the stuff that they're advocating. And I'm a little disappointed that they've been co-opted by some of these extreme right figures and so forth, and that they've aligned themselves in one fashion or another with the Proud Boys. However, that's their organization, and I commend them respectfully for looking at a situation and deciding to organize and do something about it. And extremist group, the Southern Poverty Law Center, labeling them as an extreme group. I think because of their ties to the Proud Boys, it could be that issue. But I do know there are moms and their supporters who are willing to sit down and have a conversation about the greater good
Well,
of their communities.
the poverty, whatever.
Probably Southern
The
Poverty
Southern
Law Center.
Poverty.
Yeah,
I'm all.
I know.
My mouth is like dry or something.
I've had a hard time too.
Listen, they need to put Bears fans, Eagles fans. You know what fan stands for, right?
Fanatic,
right?
Yes.
So you're saying extreme. Well, when does it become extreme? When Eagles fans? Oh, these are terrorist. These are terrorist groups to a certain extent.
and we got them all over, both sides, up and down, whatever. Yeah, they had a convention. Wow! First of all, wow. 5 Republican candidates for president showed up. Wow. Nikki Haley said, "Hey, if this is what you guys represent, consider me a mom, for liberty." It's impressive. It's something that, as a liberal, I'm taking into account and taking very seriously. As a consultant, definitely seriously. As a political innovators that we are, incredibly seriously. It's something that we've studied, we've researched. It's a new phenomenon.
Well, David,
or is it?
It's not a new phenomenon.
Yeah.
It's just since I'm talking about they lean towards the Bible. Let's talk about the Bible for a minute.
Oh,
right?
yes.
So,
are we banning the Bible now?
I'm sorry. We haven't. We haven't banned the Bible, but my final word is, Moms for Liberty is like repentance. Something was abandoned for so long, and that it just means turn around, right? That's all that means. And they turned around, and now they're active in the school system. PTA was always there, but the PTA was just comforting, getting extra money. What's really going on here is schools shouldn't be raising children.
True. That is so true. I agree with that. And a word to, and this will be my last word on this, a word to the liberals, to the Democrats, and to President Biden's campaign and Democrats running for office. The economy, for the most part, depending on who you talk to, is doing well for Americans. Some of the successes of the Biden domestic and foreign policy is evident. However, it's not being popularized. It's not out there among the people. Democrats and liberals need to talk up the successes of what the Democrats have been able to accomplish and what President Biden has been able to accomplish, because the more you do, the more that the right is pushed to these extremes. But then again, that's just simple marketing and branding. What do I know? But Moms for Liberty is definitely a force to be reckoned with. They have very important allies, and they're not done. They're not. Joel?
I had my last word. So I'm just going to tell everybody to like us, share us, subscribe to us. Just get the word out there. Because
Yes,
listen,
please.
and get us some topics. Get us some things that you want to talk about. It's not all politics, but everything has politics to it.
Yes, it does.
Thank you very much. Remember, it's j-washington.com, j-washington.com. All our socials are there. Be there or be square.
We're your political innovators. Take care.